So we're back here for part two, a different card. This is the 7x7 card blank, and we are going to be using the snowflake papers. So you will have two of these papers. They will vary in design and colour. They do have two different sides. Sometimes they work both ways and sometimes they don't. I suggest that this one doesn't particularly work this way, a bit too big of a pattern for our card. But first of all, I'm going to show you how I would go about cutting the card and the papers in order to be just right for what we're actually going to do. So I'm going to take my A4 piece of coloured card. As I said, that will vary from people to people. And excuse me, the first thing to do is cut our piece of card at 16.5 centimetres along that short edge. So I'm going to pop that into my cutter, and I'm going to take it so that the edge is up here at 16.5, so that I've got one long line of 16.5 centimetres. That piece is spare, so we could use it another time if we needed to. So then I'm going to turn it around, and these are the pieces that we need to cut from here. So we've got three pieces that are 1.5 centimetres, two pieces that are 4, one 3.5 and one 12.5, but they are all 16.5 centimetres long, and therefore it's going to be very much easier to be able to work with this, do it all at the same time. So I'm going to pop that down there, and then I'm going to use my measurements along the right hand side because it's easier for the small ones. So I'm going to take this to 1.5 centimetres and cut one, and then another one, and then another one. So that's three done at 1.5 centimetres, then two at 4 centimetres. Gonna have to go round that way now. So taking that to the 4 centimetres mark, one, and then another. And as I say, if you cut it all at the 16.5 centimetres to start off with, it's so much easier to work with. One at 3.5, and then finally one at 12.5, which is just there. That leaves you with a little tiny bit, and I'm going to throw that bit away because it may otherwise be mistaken for one of these thin bits. So that's all my pieces all cut out of my card. Let me just show you that again. So it's three pieces at 1.5 centimetres, two pieces at 4, one at 3.5, and then this one here which is at 12.5. So that's all your pieces of card cut. Then for the papers, this is how I suggest you cut the papers. Now when you look at them, they are gradiated in patterns. So you start off with a deeper colour at the top going down, fading away. So with this one, I simply suggest that you cut your 16 centimetres so that you're cutting a bit of this off, so that you're working with a more defined pattern. So if we turn it round that way and cut this at 16 centimetres, you will need to do both of them like that, and then turn it round and then do your measuring, as I said, 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre, etc, etc. You will need, as I said, two pieces of card for this, two pieces of paper for this, because the last piece, the 12 centimetres, you'll need to get that out of the second bit. But if you cut them all so that you've trimmed it down to 16 centimetres and cut off that sort of weaker, finer edge, I think you'll find that that's the best way to do it. So let's pop them to one side. And I'm going to still need this because I want to score the front of our card. So as I said, our card is a 7-inch card, and we're going to open it up so that the score line is in the middle, and that is what we're going to measure as the score, as the piece to score. So this would then become our front of our card, and I'm going to make sure that my trimmer cutter is right at the top, just using the scoreboard. So I'm measuring from this score line. So starting with 2 centimetres, I'm going to take the score line to 2 centimetres and then score that. Then to 6.5. So it's the score line that's going to 6.5. Then to 10.5. Let me just make sure I've got that in there. And finally at 15. And that's the front of the card. So then I'm going to score these pieces and run a bit of a bone folder. So the first one, that first score line, I'm going to fold backwards and crease that nicely. Then this one forward, the second one, or third one I should say, forward, and finally the last one backwards. So that when I lift this up, you can see that you've got sort of like a U shape, sort of. And I'm going to now stick this first piece, so this is the fold, and this first piece, I'm going to stick that straight down onto the back of my card. I'm going to put some glue onto that piece, turn it over, and then just shut the card down so that that piece is well and truly stuck. Okay, so that when I open it, it comes and goes like that. Now, I have put all my pieces together, but one thing I wanted to say to you, you may or may not wish to do this. So you have already cut out your silver moon, like this, but you may want to cut out a moon from the coloured card background that you've got as well, and that's quite possible to do. Simply take the piece of card that you've already cut, which was 12.5 centimetres by 16.5, pop your die into it in such a position that it is just short of these edges, and you can double check that it is by putting your piece of card paper that you've cut, which is 12 by 16, over the top, so that you can just check that you have covered it. And although it will give you a funny looking shape when you've cut it, you simply stick your piece on and you'll see that that is where I cut it from, but no one would have been any the wiser. You don't have to do that, but sometimes the coloured card that you've got can actually give quite a nice effect, but I still think that the silver one will as well, so you may want to use both, which is what I'm going to do today. So I have taken all of my pieces here and I have already stuck all of the pieces together. So I'm now going to pop them onto my card. So I've got one of the slim pieces, then that's the bit in the middle, 2 bits either side, slim piece there, and my other 2 pieces. So I'm first of all going to stick these down. So this piece is going to go against, oh, let's make sure I get the pattern around the right way with the dark at the top. I'm going to put that one over the sort of spine of it where I've already stuck it down. Then one of the next panels, then the medium size one, then the other wider one, and then finally one of the thin ones. Then I'm going to open up my card, and I'm first of all going to put this piece in. So this is the piece, this is the bigger piece, and this is where I have already cut out the moon from the back of it. And I'm going to put that over, so I've got a similar sort of border on this left hand where the fold is, and pop that down. Now this little slither is going to go here, but I am going to put a bit of foam on behind it because it's going to act as a bit of a, it's going to hold this open. So it's not an easel card, but I just want it to hold that open, and so it really needs to have a little bit of foam to lift it up very slightly. So just pop in a line of foam on there, pop some glue extra, and then put that into place onto there, so that when you then shut your card, it will then look as if it all matches quite nicely. It will sit up like that. Like that. And so you've got that sort of look to it. Okay. Now we're going to add our beautiful moon. And as I said, I've cut that out already. So we could have our moon like that. But I think it's quite nice to, you could have just a silver moon. But I think it's quite nice to sort of do both of them. So I'm going to do a sort of, so that I'm showing it from behind. Sort of like that. Sort of offsetting it. So I'm going to put a bit of glue onto this one. But you can, it's entirely up to you how you wish to have that. I just think it's nice with a little bit of silver showing as well, just as a little shadow. Now this is going to be attached to this middle bit, or the bit that sticks up the most, but as you can see, we can't put glue all over the moon, otherwise it will stick flat and the whole effect will be missed. So we're only going to need a little bit of foam behind just that section and that section in order to keep it. But we are also going to hang our little ornament about there, somewhere like that. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is pop a bit of glue onto the back of my star, moon I should say, and I'm going to pop that onto there. Now you can have it as long as you want, as short as you want, entirely up to you. Whoops. You could use tape for this as well. Hold on. I've got sticky hands as well as sticky here. Right, now stay. So giving it a chance to stick, and then I'm going to turn it over whilst it's still setting and pop some foam onto there. So 2 little bits of foam. Just going to check where we want that. So as I said, it's going onto this middle section, and it's going to go about there. So 1 little bit there. About there. And before I stick it down, I just want to get my scissors and just trim this extra bit of my star off, because I don't want that on there. And then lay that flat. And pop my moon on. And then I'll get the rest of my little stars that I've got here, put out a few, and then I'm picking out some of the snowflakes. I couldn't think what they were called, and just popping some of the little stars. You could go for the big stars, it depends on what you like to do. star. Oh. Thank you. And you can just go wherever you want to with them, really. Perhaps some down here. Just maybe, as I said, finding the snowflakes and popping it onto the snowflakes that are already there. But entirely up to you. Your card. Let's put them on here, can see them a bit better then. And if you keep them sort of so that you've got them in a little pot like this, it's easier to work with, in all honesty. Now you may or may not want to put some onto the actual moon itself. Again, your card, your shout. Oh, it's excited to get over there, isn't it? Concentrated now. Oh, missed one over here. Let's put a bigger one over here. Whoops. But you can go on and whatever, as much as you wish on there. But you can see that when that stands up, you've got the beautiful moon hanging with the hanging star there. And then it also folds virtually flat. It certainly would fit inside what we call a large envelope here. Size, large letter size, because it's only that bit that is thickened, but that bit is quite necessary just to hold that there, and it holds it in position when it stands up. So there we are. There is our second card. I'm so sorry that you had two videos, but hopefully it will all become clear when you can watch both of them. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.